Hey, family, welcome back. Oh my gosh, you guys, the plot thickens, things just keep happening. You know what? If we're not careful, we as consumers, we're going to lose our voice. I'm telling you right now, we're going to lose our voice and we're going to have to start stepping up, speaking up, and understand that we still need to vote. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me just introduce you to this. Now, what happens? I got two things to talk about. What happens when an insurance giant bribes banks overseas? Tell me what happens. Apparently, nothing. Liberty Mutual's subsidiary admitted to bribing like India banks and Wind reinsurance businesses, which pocket them about 4.7 million. And when the Department of Justice found out, guess what? Before we dive into the episode to find out what the Department of Justice did with Liberty Mutual, I want to bring something to your attention. You guys already know what I'm going to talk about. If you follow me, this is a passion in my heart. I'm going to bring this to the stage. If you see something, say something. Report suspected child trafficking. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. Every voice matters. Every child deserves protection. You guys, ever since I saw that movie, I think it was called The Sound of Music, it hurt my heart so bad to see these kids being sex trafficked. They're going all over the country, and participating in this are ones in the United States. The United States is huge on this. It's a huge cover up to me. Hey, I want to show you something, a podcast sometimes I follow, and what she talked about concerning one pastor in a church. Of how they cover up pretty much for pedophiles. And I told you guys on the last video, it's like, to me, the sheeps, they're hiding. They're actually wolves, but they're in sheep clothing. They're at the church. They're everywhere, But I want to make a demand on parents. Don't just leave your kids at church. You need to stay at church. You need to monitor what's going on, because yes, God's word is supposed to be there, which I love church. Okay. God's word is supposed to be there. But let me tell you something, there are wolves there in sheep's clothing. And this is how our kids have been subjected to this behavior that has been brought upon them as they're small. What happened, the assignment is when they're young, if you get them while they're young, you control the future. But let me just bring to the stage this one a podcast that I follow, YouTube channel called I've Had It. And she talked about how the church is so forgiving for those they want to forgive, no matter what their background is of what they've done to children. Check this out.
Fire here, you guys. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, couldn't retweet his psycho pastor's report on CNN about women just being breeding vessels and about doing away with the 19th Amendment. He couldn't retweet it fast enough. And I thought, something's wrong with this guy. Of course, Pete Hegseth, but the pastor. And so I started digging around. And just to confirm, I want y'all to see this. This is what he has said since Pete Hegseth gave him props. Play the clip.
Just repost it like, oh, here's an interesting thing that these weird people are doing. He reposted it, and he himself said, all of Christ for all of life, which is the tagline that we use. So he was, in effect, reposting it and saying amen at some level.
Okay. He's saying that he is the co-founder of this church, and he has just confirmed that Pete Hegseth is all in with him. That is the church's tagline. He is a member of this church. He has gone on the permanent record as being a member of this church. Well, this church covers up for pedophiles. This church is knee deep into sexual abuse allegations against children. And the Secretary of Defense is all chips in on this. Yet, Pumps, he has the audacity to say, I have the temperament and I have the intellect to say that women shouldn't serve in combat. So let's just review the talking points here, Pumps. In 2005, a member of the church named Stephen Sittler, and this church is Christ Church, he pleaded guilty to felony child sex abuse charges, a bunch of them, a bunch of victims. In 2006, Christ Church receives criticism for slow disclosure to the church members regarding Sittler. Later in 2006, Doug Wilson, that's the guy that was just talking about Pete giving, saying amen to Christ Church. In 2006, that guy, Doug Wilson, found Sittler, the confessed pedophile that pleaded guilty to felony child sex abuse charges. He found him to be repentant, and he accepts him back into the church again. And Wilson, the pastor of this church, writes a letter to the judge vouching for this pedophile. And so in 2007, Sittler, the pedophile, is released from prison, and Wilson refers to him as a, quote, forgiven sinner, and Wilson offers pastoral oversight to monitor this pedophile. 2011, Stephen Sittler, the pedophile, gets married, and Doug Wilson officiates the wedding, and the pedophile and the wife have a baby. In 2015, Sittler sexually abuses his infant son and confesses to it. And then later, after this abuse to the infant son and his confession of abusing the infant son, Doug Wilson, the pastor of the Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, published an open letter saying that Sittler was welcome in the church. And so that is what is going on with this church. It is every single road with these MAGA people always seems to lead to sexual abuse, pedophilia, covering up for pedophiles, and sexual depravity. I've never seen anything like it. MAGA is an anti-family party. It is an anti-child party, and it is a group of men that are sexually depraved that want to cover up for each other, even the sexual abuse of an infant.
Okay, let me unpack that right quick. Now, I'm not MAGA. I'm not whatever, and I'm not going against MAGA. They can have their policies or their rights or what have you. But what I am for is our children. We have to stop this behavior. This is unacceptable. Now, I don't know if predators can be reformed and get in a church and then all of a sudden they get married and do it again. You guys, I'm not quite sure about that. I'm just a little bit floored about that, because you would do that to your own infant child. That is unacceptable. Now, I'm not quite sure who he's affiliated with or what church, but I'm just saying we do know what church. But what I am saying about nowadays parents, you have to protect your children at all costs. No more sleepovers. Your child don't go to a sleepover. They only stay for a couple hours to a party and they come home because they have a bed at home. Do not allow your children to do sleepovers anymore. That's out the window. If you look, that's where most of the child sexual abuse happen. Right at someone else's home for a sleepover. Protect your children. We now know that we can't trust anyone, not even women in this case. The women in this case. Women are just as guilty. Ghislaine Maxwell, just as guilty, but here she's at a prison to where I don't even know if it's prison. It seemed like it's a summer camp, right? So it's like she gets privilege, but she recruited these young girls. She taught them what is needed to please a man while these young girls were in high school. But she gets to say where she spent her time in prison. Can you imagine the other prisoners in that same prison hot? Like, wait a minute. Just because she has some type of connection to the administration, you can be moved just like that? That is some interesting stuff. That what I'm telling you all, you cannot trust these people, not even women. You got to know it, you guys. You got to protect our future. They come after our children because our children, they are our future. Listen, again, if you see something, you must say something. Report suspected child trafficking. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. Every voice matters. Every child deserves protection. And I'll be honest with you guys. Sometimes I'm a little leery because I don't even see where these particular agencies are speaking up. The National Human Trafficking Organization. I know Tim Tebow has an organization. I didn't hear a peep out of them up through all this Ghislaine Maxwell bit that's going on. They have not stood up for the victims and to give a full story behind the victims that they are helping to recover and survive. That is unacceptable to me. They need to step up on their game and start talking about this issue, a huge crisis that we have in this country. All right, you guys, back to the episode. I want to bring to your attention about this bribery charge that Liberty Mutual has going on, right? It wasn't even charges. No, one charges. But what they did was a settlement. And so the Department of Justice, they investigated everything. They found out that sure enough, they were involved in bribery with other countries' banking system. Isn't that something? This goes beyond me. When you become a big wealthy company and you have so much money and you can make changes and you have people in high places to look out for you. Because listen, even though the Department of Justice, they did find some information, U.S. Department of Justice has declared that it will not prosecute Liberty Mutual Insurance Company for alleged violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of 1977. They did nothing. They did not prosecute these people despite finding evidence of bribery by employees of one of its subsidiaries, Liberty General Insurance, an India-based subsidiary. You guys, and I'll tell you another thing what they was doing, which I think is inappropriate. They use us as consumers, right? Because Liberty Mutual has become so big, just like these other companies. They get our information and then they agree with other companies to sell our information or to help push us into doing business with them. And they didn't do anything about that. Nothing about that. The only thing they said, right? In this suit here, they said the scheme resulted in revenue for LGI of around 9.2 million with approximately 4.7 million in profit. The department explained that its decision not to prosecute is based on assessment of factors set forth in criminal divisions, corporate enforcement, and voluntary self-disclosure policy, as well as principles of federal prosecution of business organizations. According to the declaration, these factors came into play. Pretty much, they said, well, Liberty Mutual timely and voluntary self-disclosure of the misconduct to the fraud section in March 2024, which was identified during an internal investigation that was still ongoing at the time of the disclosure. Liberty Mutual's full and proactive cooperation in this matter, including its provision of all known relevant facts regarding the misconduct in the future. So pretty much what they're saying is that, yeah, we committed the crime. We did that. We did an internal audit, and oh my gosh, we realized that we've been in a bribery scheme. We've been committing a crime. So since they fessed up to it and was cooperative, so no one get punished. So pretty much, are you telling me as a consumer I can go ahead and do a crime? Then I can call and say I want to report myself. And since I reported myself, I won't get prosecuted? Yeah. I'm telling y'all, big businesses, they're running things. They are running this country. They have taken over to the point where no one in big business or connections are being prosecuted. Yeah, I think this is unacceptable because they told on themselves and said, well, we're going to go ahead, we're going to make significant improvements to its compliance program, and internal controls, including enhanced vetting, monitoring, oversight of payments to third parties throughout its global markets, structural reorganization coupled with increased legal and compliance resources, and implementation of enhanced compliance policies, including with the respect to use social media application for business purposes. So as a consumer, I can commit a crime. Then I can go and fess up to it and tell on myself and let them know that I'm reorganizing. I'm putting some internal audits in place, to where I can monitor myself and monitor, what I'm doing on social media. And I won't do this crime anymore. Just don't prosecute me. This is pretty much what has taken place, right? I'm telling you guys, big business in this insurance industry. And I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to insurance, but you need to, because insurance actually tells you which way the market is going. Insurance lets you know how the economy is doing. When you see that these rates are getting raised and people are trying to put laws in place to make sure that you have no control of things, check this out. Check this one here out. Check this out right here. In California, a new ballot initiative could strip away consumers' protections that have been in place since the 1980s. This is why it is so important that we, the people, pay attention and we have to vote. This is something that's going on right now. They're going to put this on the ballot. It is a proposed ballot, you guys, a proposed ballot initiative in California to seek changes the way the property and casualty insurance is regulated in the state. There's more. Let me bring a video to the stage of to let you know exactly what this proposal means. Because pretty much, first of all, in the proposal, you no longer can elect your insurance person, right? You no longer can elect them. Once you elect the governor, then the governor can choose who they want in there. But there's a kicker. If they put them in there, they have to have at least 10 years of experience. You actually think that's going to happen? I don't think so. They need at least 10 years of experience. No, let me tell you something. Your homeboy got about 2 years. He's done some insurance, wrote policies before. And next thing you know, he's going to be the insurance commissioner because that's your homeboy. And who is going to be able to stop you? Nobody. Nobody's going to be able to stop them because the governor is in charge. You guys, they are trying to take our voices. They're trying to, I'm telling you, the rich and the powerful, they're playing by a complete different rule book Things are changing. We have to wake up. We have to get we have to remove the shells or the scales off of our eyes. Exactly why California ballot initiative matters, because this initiative can go from one state to the next. Because I'm gonna tell you something, when corporations can dodge accountability, the last line up for defense is going to be regulation. And it's under attack. It's going to be regulation and our vote. Hold on, let me show you this right here, why it's important.
Rosenfeld is the author of Prop 103 and founder of Consumer Watchdog. He believes there is no serious campaign behind this ballot measure.
Last thing we need is freeing the insurance companies to get unlimited rate increases.
Adding that Prop 103 is working and it needs to be enforced to protect consumers.
It requires insurance companies to open up their books and justify their rates before they take effect. That means they're entitled to any rate that they can show they need. They have to prove it, but they're entitled to it if they can prove it.
This ballot initiative comes after Commissioner Ricardo Lara tried to implement changes through the sustainable insurance strategy. A spokesperson for Lara tells ABC 10 he is focused on getting Californians coverage and that Prop 103 guarantees consumers' rights to hold all parties in the rate-making process accountable. He says he is opposed to any effort to take away the rights consumers deserve.
Y'all, they're trying to repeal this proposition 103. It has been into effect since 1988. It has provided the regulatory framework for property and casualty insurance in the state. Insurance companies must get approval for rate increases from an elected official. But let me tell you this, because I did a video about this when State Farm was trying to increase the rates for Californians, which they did. They finally did get approval. But the thing is, they didn't get what they wanted. You had someone actually looking out for the people. That's why it's important that we do keep our right to vote people in and to vote people out. We cannot allow this, you guys. And I'm gonna tell y'all now, even that is under attack. Our votes, our voices, that's under attack. Remember, this has been in effect since 1988. California's insurance industry has been regulated under Proposition 103. It requires insurers to get state approval before raising rates. And importantly, the insurance commission is elected by the people. You will no longer be able to elect them. The governor will. And then you get a governor in there who don't care about the people. You guys, we're in trouble. I believe in this country, our voices and our votes are trying to be suppressed. We cannot allow that to happen, you guys. I don't care on what side of the party you're on. You're going to want to always have a vote, a voice and a vote to elect who you want to represent you, right? But see, even with that new measure submitted just this week, it will flip that upside down. We wouldn't have a voice. And if passed, here's what the changes. Insurance commissioners would be appointed by the governor again, not elected by voters. That means that as consumers, we lose our voice. The current system of prior approval would be replaced by a deadline-driven process. Insurers' filings must be decided within 120 days. They could set the rates of what they want to set. You guys, we are losing our voice. We have to stand up. We have to say no. The reason why I'm talking about this, because it is dealing with insurance. Insurance is something that we always have. You got car insurance, homeowners insurance, and you better have some homeowners insurance. All these natural disasters happening, fires happening, floods happening. And I always tell you guys, if it rains, it can flood. And if you look at the latest, it has been flooding like crazy everywhere. All right. So if you sit up here, you still don't have that flood insurance, that's going to be on you, because I've said it over and over again. If it rains, it can flood. I don't care where you at. All right. But see, the thing is that we do have advocates. They want to challenge the rate hikes and insurers pay the cost. That will be eliminated. There will be no more challenges to this. We lose our voice. And if you get the wrong person in there, they can be bought. They could not side with us. They could not even care about what's coming out of our pocket. You guys, we have to keep our voice. We definitely got to keep our voice, And I want to keep you guys up to date, because this is something, it goes on the November 2026 ballot. It will go on the November 2026 ballot if they can get 546,000 voter signatures by April of next year. But see here's the danger. The critics like Douglas Heller from the Consumer Federation of America warn this new system is exactly what we've seen in states with the most dramatic rate hikes. In his words, removing oversight right now will be like shutting down the fire department in the middle of a blaze. When I look at this, it feels like consumers are losing our voice. We are being cut out of the process while big businesses and wealthy players step in and make decisions. We never want anyone to make decisions for us. This is why we have a democracy. That's not democracy, you guys. That's money buying influence. And again, you get the wrong person in there, you're going to have a problem. And I can see this going from state to state, state to state. If your state don't already have this is going to be a problem. Now you pair this with Liberty Mutual's bribery case, and it's clear. If you're rich enough, you don't get prosecuted. You just pay your way out of it, because the profit that Liberty Mutual made, they said, okay, if you give that back, and make some reforms, y'all just go on off. And I'm like, okay, well, a consumer can do that too. They can pay back whatever they did and make some reforms to their lives and never get prosecuted. If anything, that's how it needs to go for regular people as well, if you're going to do this. Because you just say, meanwhile, ordinary people face full weight of the law. This is why voting matter, you guys. Because if we don't speak up, policies like this ballot initiative will pass quietly. And once those protections are gone, getting them back will be nearly impossible. I'm telling y'all, I'm going to go ahead and close with this, but we got a serious problem in this country. And there's things that some people are focused on, in the political world. I'm focused on the insurance world. So we'll know, because we all have some type of insurance, right? If we don't have health insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, pet insurance, I'm going to do a video on pet insurance. That's a whole nother thing. So this is why it's very important that somebody keep up with what's going on here in the insurance world. And I want to say, so here's the big takeaway here. Liberty Mutual bribery case shows us how corporations get shielded. We don't get shielded unless we know someone. And the California ballot initiative shows us how consumers can lose even more protection. If you live in California or any other state, pay attention. If you live anywhere else, watch closely, because what starts in California often spreads nationwide. At the end of the day, this isn't just about insurance, guys. It's about power. Who holds it, who benefits from it, and whether we as consumers still get a voice. So what do you think? Should the Department of Justice have prosecuted Liberty Mutual? Somebody at Liberty Mutual. You had employees doing these exchanges and making these payments. They were even covering up the payments, putting the payments as something else, but they knew that the payments were for that bribery. So nobody get prosecuted. Do you think somebody or Liberty Mutual should have got prosecuted? And let me know, would you vote to keep Prop 103 in place? Drop your thoughts and your comments I really want to know. We have to stay involved, guys. We got to stay involved. All right. This is my episode for today. You guys, make sure you stay covered, stay educated, and always keep it beyond the claim. Take care.